Hello everyone, this is Alan from Mr. MTG. Can't look at the camera. Episode 2 of Card Talk. A beautiful sunny day here in South Korea. And game stores are closing. Why are they closing? New stores that are opening are closing within a few months of them opening. Some of them have specific clauses that let them back out with their landlord. It's interesting to see people who have no idea what they're talking about talk about this conversation, because the first thing you need to talk about, and probably the only thing, is distribution relationship. Your relationship with your distributor, that is probably the most important thing. But second to that is that the cost of opening a game store is large, and people don't understand that they will eventually need to pay that off. If it's money that you're just putting into the store that you had laying around, well, that money added comfort to your life, and when it's gone, you're going to really feel it. When it was there, you didn't really appreciate it. So a lot of people think that they can open a store, they think that they're going to recoup some of the money, and then it takes a lot longer than they anticipated. Another aspect of that is just competition. There are so many game stores. Now, I'm saying that I might be biased because I'm in DFW, and Dallas-Fort Worth area has an insane amount of game stores, whether they're opening, whether they're closing, sports card stores, Magic the Gathering stores, Pokemon stores, etc. There are just a lot of game stores. Now, not all of them are the same, but people have a lot of options. So if a new Pokemon set comes out, you're probably going to get beat by this heavily Pokemon store that's 15 minutes away from you, and you're heavily Magic. So when a new Magic set comes out, even though they carry that product, they're probably going to come to you instead of that store. So it's very dynamic. It's kind of like, well, pick your own lane. There are very few. I think there's only one real general game store where they have everything, and that is Madness Comics in DFW. But for you, you need to scape out the landscape. How many game stores are there? Is what you're attempting to do already being done? That's a pretty important conversation to have with yourself. And it's hard to be realistic about that, because sometimes you're going to tell yourself, well, I can do it better than anyone else. No, you can't. I'm just letting you know right now. Most game store owners I know are operating off of the thinnest profit margins. Some of them get insanely good deals from distributors because they've been customers for so long and order so much, but still their profit margins are so thin, and the product themselves are so expensive through distributors that customers think you're actually making a killing, which is funny because I know of a store that's been open for 10 plus years, and I had a conversation with the owner and realized that he actually has a full-time job as an artist outside of his game store, and that's where the bulk of his money actually comes from. The game store is secondary, and he just tries to keep it alive. And it's funny because it's a great game store, but it also is just really, really not profitable for the game store owner. So that is that. So it's a competitive market. There are a lot of game stores. A lot of people had excess money in 2019, 2020 in open game stores. But going beyond that, the most important topic is obviously the distributor relationship and the ability of the distributor to potentially kill your business. So the previous model at one point was that you could buy a product directly through Wizards, and that they could also be the distributor for their own game. Somewhere along the line, I think that went wrong, and game stores, I don't know what happened. I think Wizards might just have realized that the money involved with having to ship out the product and taking liability for the product didn't make it worth it, versus just having this taxi is just stopping in the middle of the road. Korea is such an interesting place to drive. Let me go through, buddy. All right, I'm going to continue on this topic once we get through this. All right, we're good. So anyway, I think at some point Wizards realized that it wasn't worthwhile to be the distributor, and then they moved to a different, business model where they were no longer. They used to have stores. Wizards of the Coast used to have their own game stores. You could buy directly from Wizards. People don't remember that. Gavin Verhey and Mark Rosewater have both talked about that, and I'm surprised they don't go back to that. A lot of brands are doing that. They're trying to become more independent and localized rather than have everything going through third parties. So anyway, nowadays you go through some of the biggest distributors like PhD, through Southern Hobby, you go through Magazine Exchange, you have Alliance, Those are the biggest, and you have to have a good relationship with one of them. It's interesting. Some of them are really good for Magic. Some of them are really good for Bandai. For example, GTS is your go-to for Bandai. PhD is really good for Magic if you have a good relationship with them. But your relationship with your distributor is massive, and also these guys will sometimes increase the prices on you. So this is what I'm getting to. Game stores are dying because there is a percentage increase, feels like almost every quarter, on sealed product. And for certain accounts, and I've seen their wholesale cost way above ours, and for a newer store, you're attempting to compete with people who are getting product sometimes 10% plus cheaper than you. So they're obviously going to be able to undercut you, and if you want to make any sort of profit to be sustainable, it's just not going to work. This happened recently. There was a game store that attempted to compete with us in our area. It didn't really work out, and that's just simply because they don't get the same pricing that we get, and they're obviously not, at least in the beginning, going to be able to order the same amounts. So your distributor can kill you, and in fact, this has killed a lot of stores. When a set is a home run like Lord of the Rings, or maybe a future set like Doctor Who, if it's tight allocation and prices are high, they only really allocate product to stores that they have very good relationships with, stores that order a lot of product, and stores that order product that isn't necessarily just Magic the Gathering. So if you're ordering stuff like Final Fantasy and other games, you might get put onto like a good kid list where you'll actually be able to get some of the harder to get product without it being too much of a hassle for you. But this is all a game that you're playing, and most store owners at some point are obviously going to get very tired of this game. This game does not stop. It is never ending, and you basically are at the mercy of another company that is interacting with another company, and so they have to make their cut of profit too. And I'll be honest with you, they're pretty merciless. There was a time in which they tried to increase the price of Magic product by a lot during the 2021-2020 inflation period, where prices were just skyrocketing through the roof, and they wanted to take advantage of that by increasing the price for stores. And the distributor that did that, everyone basically just boycotted them. And my argument to them was, you guys are very local to me, but Magazine Exchange isn't local and is giving me way better prices. I'm just going to order through them. I'll eat the wait time. It's fine that I don't get product the same day, and I get it for sometimes, guys. Like, just seriously, that distributor was trying to charge us, like, at that time, close to $200 for a collector box, or $190 something, and we could get the same box for like $169 or $170 through Magazine Exchange. So why would I ever go through you? However, some game stores don't have that choice. Maybe they don't have an account with all of the main distributors. I've heard of stores getting rejected from certain distribution channels. So it's very nuanced. But when you're a newer store, if you're a medium length store that's only been open for a couple of years and you don't have a solid community, the distributors can absolutely destroy you when that final push, oh, we need a little bit of profit and this new set is coming out and there's a lot of demand for this set, we could make a lot of money here, and then the set comes out and you get allocated 12 boxes. Well, you're going to be super disappointed, and at that point you're going to be discouraged. You're not going to feel like you even want to own a game store, because why have a game store if you can't sell the product that you're advertising? It's kind of like the Lorcana effect, I think. Lorcana, it's like a lot of people are getting bummed on Lorcana because you just can't get the product. Retailers don't want to host events because they don't have the product, and players can't get the product, so they don't want to play in the events. It's not a good situation. Low supply doesn't help anyone. You don't want to flood the market, but you need enough supply. So game stores are dying. It was anticipated. There was an inflationary period, and now we're going into deflation, and people come and go. There are going to be some of your beloved stores. Docks in DFW was an amazing store, and they closed. And I was like, are you kidding me? These guys were so good. They were an amazing game store. How did they close? And they did, because the profit isn't there. There just isn't enough sustainability for a lot of individuals who have kids, who have families, and they need to support their families. You can't just, keep increasing the price for your retailers and not have an MSRP, because we have to keep selling the product at prices close to what they were being sold at, or people are not going to buy from us, especially with stuff like Amazon Fire sales, etc. It's just such a really weird market, and it's such a really weird spot to be in. if you're going to start your own business, or if you own a game store, obviously right now, if you own a game store, you're probably starting to pivot in terms of where you're going, what products you're stocking. You're probably not buying as much product as you used to. People at some points were buying 48 cases of this and 48 cases of that, and they were able to sell those boxes. The market is stabilizing, which is great. Let it stabilize. Not all game stores need to exist. If my store loses the allure that it once had, and we don't deserve to exist anymore because that's how a free market works, then we need to just close up shop and say, hey, well, we tried our best. And that has definitely been a discussion sometimes. Even when we were having packed play spaces, you can't force your customers to spend money. We're unlike any other store in the fact that when people come to a game store, they don't just come to buy product, they come to play, and they play for free. And that's just how it is. It's a very, kind of democratic thing. We want everyone to be able to play, and it would be weird not to allow that, right? So you have to not be the kind of guy who's like, I need everyone to pay money if they're in my store, because then people are just not going to come to your store. So this is a really weird market. It's a really weird type of business to own. You have to get used to that concept of, I'm not going to be making money off of certain people in my store. That, someone's just standing on the middle of the road. Come on, buddy. Oh, there you go. Jesus, driving in Korea. It's a jungle. But anyway, what else can I say? It is just this is the time in which some of your favorite stores will go away. You have to accept that fact. And I'll be honest, even for the next maybe 5 years, you're not going to be seeing as many game stores. You're not going to be seeing as many conventions. Obviously, with deflation, with higher interest rates, with loans being less possible, with people not being able to get the starter capital for a business, then you are going to see a lot of people just struggle and basically fail and die. I don't think people realize how much debt some of these businesses are actually in. So, Alan from MysteryMTG.com, that's my opinion, that's my perspective. I make this video not to say that we're not going to die. I think Mystery MTG, Mystery Cards and Games, faces the exact same market, the exact same effects as every other business. And especially given the fact that I have a family now and there are mouths to feed, and it's not just me in my mother's basement, just trading sealed product and doing all this. Like, I'm no longer the neckbeard. No, I am a neckbeard. I'm no longer I gotta clarify that real quick. I'm still a nerdy neckbeard, but I'm a nerdy neckbeard with kids who now has a wife. Okay? Things change when there's mouths to feed, and you can no longer keep dumping the money you made elsewhere into a game store, and that money actually needs to go into your family instead. It's rough, man. And some of these stores that close are so good. They're so fun. They have great policies. They're very transparent. And these are the stores that go first because their profit margins are thin. Their customers don't truly understand how bad it is for them. And you'll notice the same customers who cry about a store closing are also the same people talking about Amazon fire sales and constantly buying from big box retailers like Target, Walmart, and Amazon. Dude, pay the 5 to 10% premium at your game store if you're going there 3 times a week and playing there instead of going to a bar, which go to a bar and just sit there without buying a drink. See how long that lasts you. Does not work. At the end of the day, the game store is a business. And, I can tell you our top customers, the people I love the most, Mark Wheat, John Bibb, comment on the last video. Some of these people I've gotten to know and I really, really enjoy them. But at the same time, you can love your community and also understand that this is a business. You cannot be taking losses and, intentionally killing your underlying profitability just to, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to rant too much. Alan from MysteryMTG.com. I got to get a parking spot here. So episode 2, I'll just keep trying to make these videos and hopefully you guys enjoy them. And they're going to be done while I'm in Korea. So you got to get used to me actually focusing while I drive. In Texas, I focus too, but not nearly as much as I focus in Korea. Because here it is tight. There's a lot of people, a lot of cars, and you got to be energized and ready to go as soon as you get in your car, because it is a arena. And even coming up here, I should end the video, but I can't end it right now because I'm going up the little stairway thing for the car. Okay, anyway, Alan from Mystery MTG. I gotta end the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye.